Salutations to thee, who is the establisher of all religions, the prophet of harmony, and the teacher of all teachers, great teacher. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, some people have the habit of serving good things first and then giving the lentils. So it's like that, having heard this wonderful music, you will have to listen to my talk. But then, about whom I am speaking, he is very sweetness itself. So I hope there will be some sweetness even in this. I was thinking of speaking Sri Ramakrishna as the teacher and taught. The subject is too big. I'll try. I would prefer to speak more on the student because we all are students. So teacher, he is a harmony, teacher of harmony, everyone knows it. But let's take something from him as a teacher, as a student. Christopher Isherwood, in his book on Sri Ramakrishna and his disciples, calls Sri Ramakrishna as a phenomenon and says, a phenomenon is often something extraordinary and mysterious. True, but then a phenomenon is a fact. It's an object of experience, but not an object of explanation. Once, Girish Chandra Ghosh asked Swamiji to write the life of Sri Ramakrishna. The great Swami said, you ask me to dry up the ocean, I shall do it. You ask me to pulverize the mountains, I shall do it. But please, don't ask me to write the life of Sri Ramakrishna. He literally shrank. If a person of Swamiji's eminence could say that, what about we people? We certainly cannot express what he is. He's too big, too broad, too deep. But then, the very study of Sri Ramakrishna's life and teachings in a reverential attitude edifies. It's really edifying. We can never be the same once we get in contact with Sri Ramakrishna's ideology. Whether knowing or unknowingly, there will be some change in us. That's the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. He silently transforms our life. Of course, it depends upon us, our evolution, but then there will be. None will get out of this world without taking something from Sri Ramakrishna, if provided we have a reverential attitude, not inquisitiveness. So, Sri Ramakrishna, a phenomenon, is extraordinary and mysterious. His life represents throughout his life, characteristics, moods, and attitudes of something which is beyond ordinary. It's mysterious in the sense that his life was profoundly spiritual and it was inspired, divinely inspired. He was unique. His message also has a touch of this uniqueness, says Swami Vivekananda. Other teachers taught special religions which bears their names. But this great teacher of the 19th century made no claim for himself. He left every religion undisturbed because he had realized that in reality they are all part and parcel of the one eternal religion. In this age of doubt and profanity, Sri Ramakrishna, and we make too much of knowledge. Knowledge in the sense, I'm not saying wisdom. There's a lot of difference between knowledge and wisdom. Now, we identify knowledge with information. The more information you know, the more you are knowledgeable. But Sri Ramakrishna, as if to tell us that we are all not completely correct, he came as an unlettered man and did not bother to know what was happening around him. Now we want everything to be known. We don't want ourselves to be ignorant. We want to know everything under the sun. And there are medias to fill us with all informations. But Sri Ramakrishna never cared to know what was happening, though he was living in the capital city of the then India. Nothing. What he came, he did it. So that is why I think it's better for us to learn as his aspect of discipleship. In our Puranas, we see our great heroes like Rama, Krishna, and even in the mythology, our gods, goddesses, they are very good at defeating the demons and killing. And what about this incarnation? He was so, what do you call, delicate, komalangam, we say. When we meditate on him, we call him komalangam. So delicate he is. He couldn't. But killing of the demon is not always physical. There is a greater aspect, there's a better way of killing. That is, in this age, the doubt is in the form of, the demon is in the form of doubt. Swamiji sang, Samshaya Rakshasa Nasha Mahastram Yami Gurum Sharanam Bhavavaidyam. In this age, O Ramakrishna, your life, you yourself are the very weapon in destroying this demon called doubt. We want, this is age of present age, instant age, everything we want right now, here and now. Even God, here, if you are a religious person, they will make fun of you. Can you show me God? Many people ask Sri Ramakrishna, sir, can you put me into Samadhi within 15 days? Totapuri took 40 years. Sri Ramakrishna took quite a long time, but then in 3 days he got it, of course. Buddha got it for 6 years. And here a certain man came and asked Sri Ramakrishna, can you teach me that Samadhi within 15 days? I don't have much time. So that I can make some money. That's that. So these are the type of, this is the age. So he proclaimed, he illustrated that wisdom does not consist in the books, but in anubhuti, experience. He proclaimed to the world that Jiva is Shiva. That is, man is essentially divine, and the solidarity of man and the world, that is Jiva and Jagat, in the supreme reality called Brahman. We all know that Sri Ramakrishna is the prophet of harmony, Samanvayacharya, as he is called. He belongs to that group of teachers whom we call Jagat Gurus, world teachers. At the same time, he was the best student that we can think of. Let's understand what type of mind Sri Ramakrishna had before embarking into his sadhana. First, he accomplished whatever he set out to do. Great determination. He never forgot anything he heard. Shrutidhar, it is called. Once you tell him something, he will never forget. We have seen in his life, somewhere some person had said, this particular incident happened there, and this man told. He's so grateful. Any idea, he got it from anyone. He remembers who said this. There's one incident in the village when Sri Ramakrishna went, and people come to see him, and he's from the big Brahmin family, and he never had this, this Yagnopavita and all that, and no mark, external mark. So somebody asked, what has happened to him? There's no marks. And then one man said, it has fallen. He gave the example of Narkeler bello. He says, like the coconut tree, the leaf, when it falls off, it makes a mark, that's all. It falls off. As soon as it's dry, it falls off. In the same way, all the upadhis, all the adjuncts of a Brahmin, it has fallen down. So Sri Ramakrishna, he remembered that, and he would always mention that particular village, that particular man said this. See, if we tell something, if we hear something, we won't mention from which book we got it. So it's my own idea. So we want to tell people. But he was so grateful. This is the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. At random I'm speaking. I'm not going to make a very formal lecture and all that. Just whatever ideas is coming to me, I'm just placing it to you. And the third is, he shunned forcefully and immediately any obstacles that prevented him from reaching his goal. Vishayan vishavat tyaja. Shun the sense objects like a poison, the scripture says, Ashtavakra says. So this is what? Immediately, something is obstructing, something is a hindrance to my spiritual life, push it by all means. That is, priority is there. My spiritual attainment is important. He would brush it aside, whatever, however tempting it might be. That's the greatness. Fourth, he performed all his actions in this world by placing his firm faith in God, in himself, and in the innate divinity or the divine nature of all people. None was bad to him. Everyone had some spark of divine. So he trusted everybody. He could not accept any idea tinged with even the slightest narrowness, nor could he bear any low, impure thoughts. Sixth, purity, love, and compassion guided him always in every action. When we take up the spiritual life, what's the motive? The scripture says the motive of all human beings is to get rid of the sorrow, misery, and to attain happiness, peace. Every creature avoids, even a small ant avoids the misery. We have seen, you put a drop of water in front of the ant, it will try to go away. So that's how we start our spirit, why we want to attain happiness and peace and get rid of the sorrows. But in contrast, an incarnation of God he does not have the slightest desire or trace of selfishness, no wish to enjoy here or hereafter, nor any intention of enjoying infinite bliss by liberating himself while disregarding the fate of others in the world. The only reason is compassion. Compassion is the only motive that motivates an incarnation to take up spiritual sadhanas. And what's the reason for this compassion? No. It is inborn in their, it is ingrained in their very nature. Holy Mother explains the reason for Sri Ramakrishna's practice of spiritual sadhanas. She says, is it ever possible for a human being to free himself unaided from the clutches of Maya? It was for this reason that the Master performed austerities to the utmost extent and gave the result thereof for the redemption of humankind. There are certain qualities or qualifications which an aspirant needs to have to proceed in one's spiritual life. The general, whichever path you may take, you may be a Advaitin or you may be a Vishishtadvaitin or you may be a simple devotee, but certain things are very, very important, basic. You have been hearing all this throughout the years here, but still, in light of Sri Ramakrishna's sadhanas, we will discuss this. Two things, discernment and detachment. Sri Ramakrishna says, there is no other treasure, greater treasure than Viveka and Vairagya for a spiritual aspirant. These are the greatest treasure, he says. In Vivek Vairagya, like that, there is nothing. So these are two important. How did he practice this? You must have read it. He takes a handful of coins and a handful of mud and then says, Taka, mati, mati, taka. Money is mud, mud is money. Money is mud, mud is money. Again and again he impresses on the mind and then throws them both in the Ganges. And that's the end of his connection with money. Never in his life could he touch metal. Even in his final days, he couldn't even eat in the plate. He says, he asked Yam, can you get me the mud plates and mud cups. You know, in Calcutta you can see bhad, they say, made out of cups made, because he couldn't even touch a glass. To that extent, his nerves were, his mind was one with the idea. His physical body was in harmony with his mind. And we know the famous incident in Sri Ramakrishna's life, Narendra hiding a coin in under the Sri Ramakrishna's bed. He couldn't sit. He had been out, and Narendra, an intelligent, they have done all the doubts and clarification for our sake. So nothing is left for us. We can take them. Sri Ramakrishna's disciples were not less agnostic or they were quite. So they could test him and take him. So Narendra and Yogin both tested. The main teaching of Sri Ramakrishna is Kamini Kanchan. One tested Kamini, another tested Kanchan. Women and gold. Renunciation of women and gold. Both the disciples tested the master. Bold boys, good. So that we can now take Sri Ramakrishna for granted. And Sri Ramakrishna had been out. Narendra kept a coin under the bed and went. And Sri Ramakrishna came and said, those who have been to Sri Ramakrishna's room can know there's a small bed where he used to sit and talk to people, and on the big cot he used to sleep. And he couldn't sit, and he jumped up. And again he tried to sit, again he jumped up. What's the matter? Then Narendra just came and took it and went, there you are. And he told Yogin Maharaj, test the sadhu in daylight and then at night, and then take him. What a wonderful teacher. Never cursed him, but blessed. Good. You have done right. You have to test. Test the coin. Test me like the money lender. Test this coin and then take me. That was his word. So that's the discrimination. And dispassion or detachment. He was employed as a priest of Kali temple, and there was a small remuneration for it. And he was supposed to put his thumb impression on it and take the salary. He said, no, I can't do it. I don't have the feeling that I am working for somebody. I am serving the Divine Mother. So he never, in his lifetime, he never signed. And what they used to do, they used to put all those money in a small box, keep it in his room. God knows how many people might have taken what, I don't know. But when Holy Mother came to Dakshineshwar, then he asked Hridu, just see how much of money is there in that box. And they found 300 rupees of those days was there. And he said, can you make 2 good bangles for her? And while presenting, he said, this is my relationship with her. Because his mother had promised Sharada, the little Sharada, that Gadai will give her lot of jewels. Because when she was married to him, you know, she was 5 years old, and they were quite poor, and so Chandramani had brought some jewels from the neighbors, Lahas, and decorated the little girl. And after the ceremony, she has to give back. But she didn't have the heart to remove those jewels from that little girl. And she was crying. And here, intelligent Gadadhar said, don't worry, Mom, I'll take care of it. And when Sharada was sleeping, so tactfully he removed all the jewels and handed over to the mother, and they finished giving it off. And then little girl, when she got up in the morning, found nothing is there, and she didn't even know what to say for the bangle or the chain. She said, here, what happened? Where did it go? She started crying, and Chandra Devi took her on the lap and said, oh dear, don't worry, when you become big, Gadai will give you. So to keep up the word of the mother, see, when she had said that, he gave these ornaments. That's the only thing I think he made use of the salary what he got, that it was kept in the box. Other than he never felt. And you know, one of Mathur's grandson, or must be grandson, Trailokya, sometimes he had some sort of misunderstanding or whatever. He got very angry with Hriday and Ramakrishna something. He said, let these people go away. The news reached Ramakrishna. Okay, he took his towel and walked out. And he was almost going towards the gate, and Trailokya understood the significance of it. Some ruin may fall on him. So immediately he ran, fell at Sri Ramakrishna's face. Sir, I didn't tell you to go. I didn't. Oh, is it? Okay. He came back. So the detachment and simplicity and humbleness, all this, these are the essential qualifications which an aspirant need to cultivate. And then Shankara says there are 6 very important virtues. 6 virtues, he says. Shama, Dhamma and all that. How did Sri Ramakrishna practice Shama? Shankara says Shama means Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, you know, hearing the scriptures, contemplating on that and meditating. These are the only thing an aspirant has to do, and he mustn't bother to think of anything else. And Sri Ramakrishna did exactly that. He said, those days when I was doing sadhana, I couldn't tolerate anything other than God. If anybody spoke anything apart from spiritual matters or about God, I would just walk out. See, he's teaching us. Avoid unnecessary, curious ideas and messages, especially now we have been loaded with messages, which sometimes is disturbing. So, put an control to it. So, Sri Ramakrishna never heard, unnecessarily he used to say, my ears burn when I hear something other than God. So, this is his way of practicing Shama and Dhamma, self-control. All the sense organs, the mind, everything to be perfectly controlled. And how did he do it? When we sit for meditation, we get disturbed. He would tell his mind, he would show, you know, on the top of the Kali temple, there is a Bhairava statue. Bhairava is meditating like this, very seated firmly like that. And Sri Ramakrishna would tell his mind, look, you should sit like that. You should sit like that and meditate on the mother. And he used to say, when he sat for meditation, you know, all joints, the shoulders, ankle, wrist, everything would be locked. Tuck, 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 everything is locked. Can't move. Even if he wanted to change his position, no way. He couldn't get up and go, oh, today meditation is a little bit too difficult. Okay, let me go out and read something or talk to somebody. On spiritual matters only, of course. No way. He could have once sat till he finishes his meditation. He couldn't move. Everything is locked. And when the meditation is finished, everything is unlocked. Means so much of control the mind had on body and the body had on its mind, working in harmony. Ours, we sit for meditation, something is hearing, something is happening there, immediately we go. Or somebody is telling something, I must listen. All this, it might be something good. I don't say always we do something out of way, but still that is a disturbance. That is also a disturbance. Sri Ramakrishna is very, very, he is teaching this, all this. And the third, there is a called as Uparati, means self-settledness, not allowing the senses to drift away. And he would, as I told you, he would show his mind and keep the mind always under control. And there's another wonderful thing called as Titiksha, which we nowadays lack. That is why all sorts of troubles, so much of stress. There is something what is called as we need to put up. We need to put up as a human beings. If not, society won't go, homes won't go. Sri Ramakrishna used to live with his nephew Hridayram. And really, Hridayram, we should be very thankful to him. He looked after Sri Ramakrishna just like a child during his period of sadhana. That is why the master could do all this. And then a time came, something entered into his head, and he became arrogant. Maybe some sort of desire he might have had it, because serving such a holy person, that shouldn't have happened. But if it is motivated by some desire, it will not bring any good effect. You might get the desire, but our spiritual evolution will not be there. That must have been the reason for Hriday's horrible state. He started behaving very arrogantly with Sri Ramakrishna. So much he used to hurt him, torture him. Sri Ramakrishna was helpless, but he put on with him until the mother made an arrangement. He had to get out. Hriday had to finally go away from the temple. But he never said anything to Hriday. That's why in the later days, when he was teaching us, he said, Shaw, Shaw, Shaw. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, 3 Shahs are there in Bengali. They pronounce everything Shaw, Shaw, Shaw. One is, that means forbear, forbear, endure, endure. He who endures survives. He who doesn't endure will be destroyed, will perish. So that's the biggest lesson we need to learn as sadhakas. If you want to live in the family, in the society, in the community, some sort of endurance is very, very essential. Endurance is not cold and wind, all those days, those people used to do bygone days. But now, our endurance should be with people whom we live with. And samadhana, complete concentration of mind on Brahman. I'll just little bit deviate here. Of course, Sri Ramakrishna's concentration was wonderful. He already had the realization of Mother Kali through his own self-effort. Though, of course, he got the first initiation of Shakti from one person called as Kenaram Bhattacharya. We don't hear about him at all in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Only one sentence is there that he got initiated from a certain sadhaka by name Kenaram Bhattacharya into Shakti mantra. Sri Ramakrishna's family was Rama Upasakas. They were Sri Rama's devotees. Kshudiram had Raghuvir. They were Rama Upasakas. They were not Shakti worshippers. But when Ram Kumar came to the Kali temple, he must have got initiated. Yes, he was initiated into Shakti cult, and he got Sri Ramakrishna to be initiated into the Shakti cult because he knew one day the younger brother will take up this responsibility. So apart from that, he realized the Mother Kali through his own self-effort, and his only sadhana was yearning. Vakulata, he called it. Yearning. With his intense yearning he had. So he had realized his oneness with Mother Kali. But still he practiced all the religions. And some of his disciples used to ask him, well, you realized the Advaitic idea when you realized you oneness with Mother Kali. Why did you practice? And he said, you know, when I realized the mother, a great desire came into my mind. I should know how mother blesses the people in different ways. How she blesses. It is she, ultimately it is she who blesses as a Rama. It is she who blesses as Krishna. It is she who blesses as Christ. And she who blesses as Allah. Because Mother Kali is Shakti and Brahman. She's one and the same. So he wanted to enjoy. That's why, you know, when somebody said Sri Ramakrishna practiced all the religions and proved the harmony of religion, Holy Mother said, I don't think so. He practiced all these religions in order to give this ideology. It was his nature to be immersed in God consciousness, and he loved to enjoy God in different way. And he used to give, Sri Ramakrishna used to give the example of women who enjoy doing different cooking and feeding people different delicacies. Women, I think, those days, not these days, those days women had this tendency, make delicacies and feed the children and the family people. So like that, enjoying God in 1,000 ways, as many ways as you can. And that's how as many minds, so many religions came into existence. It was his nature to love God, to enjoy God in different ways. And one of the way was this Advaita sadhana. Just one picture, let's have. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting one day in a very pensive mood on the steps of the temple, Kali temple, and there comes Totapuri. From getting down from the boat, straight enters the ghat and comes into the temple. Just looks around where he has come. And suddenly his eyes falls on Sri Ramakrishna. Immediately, just as a jeweler can understand a jewel, just seeing, he understands, oh, here is a person competent for Advaita sadhana. Look at his face, beaming with radiance. So he goes straight. Do you want to practice Advaita sadhana? Quick, if you want, I'll teach you. I don't have much time. Very busy person. Because he used to say only three days he used to stay in one place. There's a saying, Bahata pani ramta sadhu. The flowing water and moving monk doesn't get attached, doesn't get accumulated, dirt doesn't accumulate, the running water, flowing water, and the moving sadhus. So he said, only 3 days I'm staying here. If you want to learn, you can learn. I see you're competent for it. Sri Ramakrishna says, I don't know what I'm going to learn and what I'm not. My mother knows everything. He thought some biological mother. So he said, okay, go and find it, ask her and come. So Sri Ramakrishna went straight to the temple, and there the Divine Mother says, go my child, go and learn. I have brought him for you. So he says, yes, my mother has given the permission. And when Totapuri saw Sri Ramakrishna going to the temple, he smiled. With all this fellow has got still ignorance. He thinks that Divine Mother is in the temple. He doesn't know the divinity is within him and divinity around. Because he thinks he has not understood, realized the Advaita. Okay, anyway. So he taught. And Sri Ramakrishna says, I told him that everything has to be done secretly because my mother is here. I can't take sannyas openly because that will hurt my mother. She has lost 2 sons and I don't want to give pain to her. So, see the beauty of this person, all-renouncing person with such tender heart, caring for the mother. It's not, there are cults. Once you become a sadhu, you cannot even look at the parents. You can't have any contact with your own sisters and mothers. Sri Ramakrishna was never like that. He had utmost respect for his mother, love for it. So he didn't want to, I hope I'm not late. So he didn't want to give her trouble, pain. So he said, if done in secret, that's fine, no problem. And he told, look, I'm a married man. I have a wife. Then Totapuri said, good. That is a test to know how you are established in the Advaita. So go ahead. And he gave him the sannyas, and then for 3 days he started giving the precepts of Advaita. Finally he said, now come on, think of this and meditate. Remove all ideas of name and form from your mind and concentrate on the non-dual, impersonal aspect. And Sri Ramakrishna tried the whole day. No way, no. It was not possible because it was easy for him to to withdraw his mind from all the things of the world. Touch, smell, taste, nothing. Nothing, no smell would enter his ear. Nothing would go into the retina. Nothing will go into the eardrum. The body will be just like half dead. I'm saying half dead, not full dead. So all that. But the moment he did it, the moment he brought all the sense organs to one thing, when he brought his mind under control, there came the image of the Divine Mother. Literally, conscious, Chaitanyamai, with full of consciousness, the beautiful form of the mother, which he did not have the heart to push it aside. And he said, no. After 3 days, finally he said, sorry, I'm not able to do. I can't go beyond name and form. And Totapuri, he's a man of self-effort. You should know. 40 years he had done. The sheer self-effort he had realized. So he said, what? Can't be done. What do you mean? He searched everything. It was a small hut, dirty somewhere. All the things were there. And he found a piece of glass, broken glass. And the sharp end of the glass, he took and pierced it. Come on, meditate on this pain here. And there Sri Ramakrishna tried to concentrate. And when the Divine Mother's luminous form came, he says, I do not understand what it really means, but I'm only repeating what he says. He says, I took discernment as the sword and cut the form of Divine Mother into 2. And all the name and form went away, and the mind soared level after level, level after level, and ultimately it dissolved in one infinite homogeneous entity which is behind all the cosmos. Transcended space, transcended time, transcended causality. Time, space and causation. It crossed and became one. And Totapuri waited for quite a long time. He sat with him quietly, also meditating. And after a long time, he thought, he saw, yes, he has dived deep into, now let me lock the door, because somebody might come and give him a push. So none disturb. So he locked the house and sat in front of the hut under a tree and waited for Sri Ramakrishna to knock the door to open. The day went, night came. The next day went, night came. 3 days, 3 nights. And the evening, almost it's coming and no sign, nothing from outside, inside. So Totapuri opened the door and he saw Sri Ramakrishna seated as he had left him. No movement, nothing as he had. And he touched him, pulse, no breathing, nothing. So a body was lying there like a dead body. That's why I said now it's fully dead, because Bhava Samadhi has slight ego. But in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, absolutely the ego has gone. Once the ego goes, what else is there in the body? It's nothing but a dead body. It's a dead matter. Nothing, no sensation, no feeling, absolutely nothing. And he was surprised. He said, "Ye kya daivi maya? What is this miracle? That which took 40 years for me to do, and this great soul has done it in three days." Then he understood he is a unique person. He is not an ordinary run. Then he said, "Hari Om, Hari Om." He started chanting. The vibration was felt in the whole temple, the garden, on the Ganges. And then slowly Sri Ramakrishna started regaining the normal consciousness. And then that's the story. So this is called as Samadhana according to the Advaita. This he did it. And now the 2 more are there. Shraddha, faith. Sri Ramakrishna literally had aggressive faith, rather we can say. And he never liked this an ampy-pampy way of telling, "Oh yes, it will be done. Oh, we are, after all, human beings, we are sinners." These ideas he never liked. He wanted people to have burning faith. He said, people take the name of God, and at the same time, in the same breath, they say, "We are sinners, we are humble, we are like this." How can it be? You should have burning faith. Once you have taken the name of God, you should say, "What? I have taken the name of Rama, I have taken the name of Durga. How can impurities remain in me?" This type of burning faith he asks us to have. And that's what he had. That is how he did. And he used to give the example of Vibhishana. Vibhishana had such faith in the name of God. A certain man wanted to go to India. Maybe he didn't have any sheep or any ship or boat, whatever it is. So he asked Vibhishana, "How am I to go?" Vibhishana said, "Don't worry." And he gave something tied to the cloth, and he said, "Now you can go, you can walk on the ocean." And this man was walking nicely, and suddenly he said, "What has Vibhishana given to me in this cloth?" So he opened, he found a piece of leaf in which Rama's name was written. Then he said, "What? This leaf, Rama, what is this?" Immediately the man sank. See, on the faith of Vibhishana, he was drifting in the ocean, he was walking the ocean. The moment he lost the faith in the name of God, drowned. So Sri Ramakrishna says to us, hold on to the name, hold on to the name, the mantra which you have got. That is the only boat which will take you to the other side of the ocean. That strong faith, that attachment to the name is very, very essential. That is what Sri Ramakrishna says. And finally we come to mumukshatva. And this is the only qualification which is very, very, very important. Depending on that is our success. How intense is our aspiration? To that extent, our spiritual progress will be quick. And Sri Ramakrishna called it as Vyakulata. And Sri Ramakrishna's yearning, he got the name Mad Priest. Because of his yearning, he would say, I used to call Mother Ma in such a way that I could drag Mother Kali from the higher realm. That call, Ma, was so strong, one could feel as if the Mother of the universe is dragged down to him. So that intensity, that one word Ma had. That's the Vakulata. And people, he used to roll on the ground and cry for the mother. And people are sitting, poor boy must be having some colic pain. If not, why will he roll on the ground like this? No, his was Vyakulata, yearning for the mother. That is the height of his intensity. This longing, he says, is the dawn, after which the sun rises. If anyone has this intensity of yearningness, then one should be pretty sure that he will be having the vision of God. This is about the master's Vyakulata, or his, we can't say mumukshata because we are the seekers. He is not a seeker. He is bringing all these things for our sake. Now, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, the coin which was during the Mughal period was not current during the British period, and British period currency is not current now. So all those spiritual practices which bygone days rishis did, that's not possible now. Now we need to have a different currency. This is in Kali Yuga, Nama Mahatmya. He said, I heard from a sadhu in Kashi, he says. The Kashi sadhu said, in Kali Yuga, Naradiya Bhakti, the name of God. This is the sadhana for the people of modern days. That is by Nama, name of God. There is a saying, Ram se bada, Ram ka naam. Greater than Rama is Rama's name. So that sort of strong faith Sri Ramakrishna asked us to have. It is true that Sri Ramakrishna was unique as a sadhaka, and it is not possible for us even to think of ourselves doing anything of this sort. And Sri Ramakrishna himself said, whatever I have made is for setting an example. It is enough for you to do 1/16 of what I have done. Everyone cannot be Sri Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna alone is Sri Ramakrishna. None of us can be. Even Sri Ramakrishna's disciples, when they were trying to imitate the Master, Swamiji used to scold them. Don't be foolish. You can never be Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna is himself. He alone is. His equal is he himself. All we can do is surrender ourselves, love him wholeheartedly, and take his name with all reverence, hold on to the name, and drift in this world, in the ocean of this world. To conclusion, we need to have this type of faith in Sri Ramakrishna's word. And that's a beautiful song written by Premeshananda Maharaj on Sri Ramakrishna. I would love to give the translation of the song. It was translated by Swami Ashokananda. Arupa Shayare Leela Lahari. That's a song. I'm translating the English version of it. Under the gentle breeze of compassion, waves have risen in the ocean of formlessness, merged in the undivided, without beginning or end. Thou, through thine inscrutable Maya, hast assumed a human form. On the other side of mind, there is a realm unknown, where neither the sun nor the moon can enter. But even there, thine infinite smile sheds its rays and illumines with charming light. Thy body is made up of love, and puts to shame the God of beauty. And what sweet light thine eyes bestow! Whoever sees thee longs to offer at thy feet his body, life, and mind. Many ages come and gone have I awaited thee, but today all doubts have vanished. Oh, receive the gift of all I have. I dedicate myself to thy service. This is a service we all are giving in our own way at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. Our life is for him in any way. Doing service, looking after one's own family is also a sort of service to Ramakrishna. If one can bring up a Vidya Samsar, we are contributing to this world. We are bringing good citizens, not just, not enough to have good devotees. We want good citizens. Citizens and sadhus have equal responsibility in this world to promote goodness and giving healthy ideas to the world. So this is the service you and I are offering at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. Thank you.